And a happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back to Dado Field for the rubber match of this, what was supposed to be a 3-day weekend series, condensed into 2 between the Stanford Cardinal and your USC Trojans. I am Dan Vespers. Thanks for joining us on this really delightful day. We had all rain on Saturday. Game rained out. Made it up yesterday in a cloudy and still Saturday afternoon. And today, partly cloudy. Seeing the sky for the first time all weekend long. And it makes for fantastic baseball weather as the Cardinal and Trojans get set to go head-to-head in what should be a good ball game. Both teams trying to win their first Pac-12 series of the year. The Trojans taking the nightcap yesterday with a thrilling 3-run, well, it wasn't a comeback, tie-breaking rally that split a 7-7 tie, and the Trojans were able to cruise to a victory after losing the opener 6-4. Game 3, the rubber match, coming up on the other side of the national anthem. We'll step aside for just a moment. First pitch when we return. Sunday afternoon baseball. There is nothing better. Trojans and Cardinal. Once again, the rubber match between the two clubs trying to win their first Pac-12 series of the year. The Trojans trying to do it against the number 2 team in the nation. Right there on the screen. That 2 is a very low number because the Cardinal are very, very good. We got a little bit of a taste of it yesterday, although for USC, a wonderful comfort behind win. The nightcap again, they actually led 4-0 before the Cardinals scored 5 runs in the 4th inning. USC countered with 3. They went up 7-5. Cardinals tied at 7-7. Trojans got the last lap. A 3-run rally spurred by Ethan Hedges, the freshman, a tie-breaking RBI single put USC on the run. They added 2 more, and the combination of Josh Blum and Garrett Clark took it to the finish line. The story certainly in yesterday's ball games is that, well, we were kind of playing a who would blink first game, but largely it was over on the pitching side. Offenses more than did their job. Teams combined for 10 runs in the first game, 17 in the nightcap of our doubleheader. And so today, each club looking for, I would argue, a little bit more out of their pitchers. Certainly on the starting side, Quinn Matthews and Tyler Stromford do all well in the opener, but in the nightcap, bullpens were heavily used. And the first team to get 6-7 batters in a row out ended up kind of being the team that won. You can see on the screen the pitching matchup for this afternoon affair for the Cardinals, Joey Dixon, 2-0 record, ERA of 5.91, and for the Trojans, they'll counter Eric Hammond, 0-1 record, ERA of 9 on the nose, 7 strikeouts, 74 walks. But again, a lot of this limited sample size. Take everything kind of with a grain of salt here. Hammond making his 4th start of the year. He's only got 8 innings in his previous 3 outings, so kind of getting stretched out a little bit. About 8 home runs in 8 innings of work. 3 home runs allowed. That's been the sort of the hindrance to Hammond. If you wipe that out, takes most of those runs off the board. But you can't wipe it out. And against a Stanford team that hits a lot of homers, you have to be cognizant of it. Hammond in the stirrups, Trojans in their black uniforms today. Right-hander kicks and fires, and the first pitch of the day is taken high and outside for the afternoon, and we are underway. I'll tell you more about Hammond in a moment. First, Eddie Park digging in for the Cardinal. Park at 277 on the year, a homer and 13 runs batted in, and he takes a strike. Starting lineup for the Cardinal, Park will be followed by Alberto Rios and Braden Montgomery here in the top of the first inning. The plate man is Malcolm Moore, and then Carter Graham and Jake Sapien. That one drifts a little bit outside. Jimmy Maddox hit 7th. Trevor Haskins, who played in the first half of yesterday's doubleheader, back in the 8 hole, and then Owen Cobb, the everyday shortstop for the Cardinal, hitting 9th. 2-1 on the way, grounded up the first baseline, a diving smother at first by Ethan Hedges, but all he can do is stop it. Ball hit him in the heel of the glove, kicked up off of his chest, and then kind of rolled away from him. An infield single for Eddie Park. The Cardinals have their leadoff man Ford, and in trouble right out of the chute for USC. It was a heck of a try by Hedges. May have even overdove a tiny bit on that ball. It wasn't hit that sharply, but right up along the foul line. And ended up catching it as he was landing as opposed to mid-dive. There is Rios bumped up to the 2 hole, and you can understand why. Rios homered in each game of the doubleheader yesterday. And he's just flying along here in this 2023 baseball campaign. Very dangerous batter. 4 homers, 22 runs batted in for Rios. And he's hitting through a 363, and off the pickoff throw gets away. Park rumbles down to second base on a Hammond throwing miscue. Cardinal now man out of scoring position. 1 strikeout on Rios. Eric Hammond, 6'4", 185. Tall drink of water. He's out of Keller, Texas. Sophomore being bumped up here to a bigger role. And his 0-1 is lowered away. Always trying to count on Rios. One of the other notes on Rios is that he's only struck out 4 times this year. Stromberg got him on a fastball under the knuckles. That was notable. He walked 5. He's up there, has power, and doesn't swing and miss very often. It makes you real dangerous. 1-1 is low, and that one gets by Aoki. Over the third goes Park. The pitch was low, but it didn't look like it hit the dirt. Regardless of how you would square this thing up, not exactly a clean start to this ballgame for the Trojans on defense. So 2-1, and that's high and inside for ball 3. Thinking about Hammond. Only walked 4 in those 8 innings, and there's a rocket up the middle. Hits the mound and slowed it down. A backhanded play behind the bag by Bryce Martin to get the out on Rios, but Park scores the run from third. The Trojans give up one quickly thanks to a fielding mistake and pass ball. And it's 1-0 Cardinals. See it on the replay. Ball was hit pretty sharply, but the mound popped it up in the air and slowed it down. That gave Martin Prezzolonic a chance to get back behind him. He's in a little bit of a shift, not directly up there. You can see it moving on your screen. So 1 away, base is empty now. Park brings in the run. 1-0 Cardinal. So interestingly, for the first time, scored first in a game in this series. Trojans led 1-0 after the first inning in each game the doubleheader yesterday. Stanford came right back and scored 3 in the early game. USC actually added to their 1-0 lead in the late game, made it a 4-0 advantage, and the Cardinals on the high 5.
I didn't think anything.
It's 1-1 to Montgomery, breaking the jam over the softwood foul. Rios collects yet another RBI, 23 on the season. Impressive stuff by that guy. Be outdone here. Montgomery takes high and away from ball 2. He's hitting .449. 5 homers, 13 runs batted in. He struck out 8 times. Of course, this sounds like a high number because we're just talking about Rio's at 4, 8 strikeouts. And his number of trips is also very low, and make it 9. Changeup running away, takes care of Montgomery. 2 down in the top of the first. Hammond settling in after giving up an infield single. It's hard to say that. They hit hard in the front. Then the defensive side. Malcolm Moore now. Get to control the defense after the first one to Malcolm. That's it for a couple strikes. Outfield for USC this afternoon. Adrian Colon-Rosado in the left, Austin Over in center, and Cole Gabrielson in right. Johnny Olmstead, Ryan Jackson, left side of the infield. That breaking ball misses high. Very smart to Breslonic in second. He catches it first. Battery of Aoki and Hammond. Malcolm Moore also very dangerous. He's hitting .357 with 5 homers and 15 driven in. He went too far on a check swing attempt. Hammond moved in front, 1-2. Nice crowd filing in here as well. Probably like us, excited to see sunlight. Weird to say about Los Angeles, but that's where we've been. Here's the 1-2. Chased and missed. Throw goes down to first base to record the out. Really nice bounce back from Eric Hammond after giving up the initial infield single and then throwing his pickoff toss to the screen. He comes back to get the next 3 batters in a row, gives up just the 1 run, and at the end of half an inning, gets the Cardinal 1 and the Trojans. Leads the way. You haven't got the drink yet? You should get it. Joey Dixon tuning up for the Cardinal here as we hit the bottom of the first inning. Stanford leading it 1-0. Lovely low 60-degree Sunday afternoon. Nado Field on the USC campus. Dan Jasper's with me here, and thanks as always for hanging out. Today, by all accounts, will be a shorter day of baseball than yesterday. We had games rolling from 2 to about 5:45, and then the nightcap was a marathon affair. It ran about 3 hours and 40 minutes or so, and the Trojans didn't care as long as they came out on the proper side of it, and they did. Following a doubleheader, kind of a relaxing Sunday. Here's the Trojans batting order on your screen. Take a look at them. Austin Over and leading things off, followed by Ryan Jackson and Cole Gabrielson, and then Nick Lopez DHing in the shooting spot. Johnny Olmstead batting 5th. Bryce Martin Breslonic hits 6th, and about a 3rd. Adrian Rosado hitting headless. Connor Aoki. To face the righty Joey Dixon. Dixon 6'2", 204-pound junior out of South Jordan, Utah. And for Stanford, they've kind of moved some bodies around in terms of who gets the starting nod. Dixon delivers a first pitch strike to Over. This is the first start of the year for Joey. He's gone about 2 innings in each of his previous efforts. Slowly stretching him out. The 0-1. Right back in the same spot again, -2. So much like the nightcap yesterday, we don't know exactly how far the Cardinals starter is going to go. The thought would be probably 3, and if he's cruising a little bit beyond that. 0-2 Over and breaking ball. Austin slaps it foul, stays in. For Stanford, in a perfect world, visitors probably would use 2-3 pitchers to get through the first 6 or 7 innings, and then kind of get into their late relieving core. 0-2 on the way again. Over and swings. Foul ticket just to stay alive. Austin's hitting .333, blinding speed. The true freshman here for USC. No over 10 RBIs. He got caught a couple times yesterday. Left-hander, infield shaded to full. And another 0-2. This one drifts very good. 1. 7 triples. We talked about that a bit yesterday at his first dozen games this year. That's a crazy stat. 1-2 here is lined to third off the glove of a diving Jimmy Natai and rolling down the left field line. Over trying to stretch it into 2, and he will do so at first dive. Pretty nice play out in left field. Little Rios, who was shaded towards the line, get that ball in quickly and over. Leadoff double for the Trojans. And an opportunity to maybe get right back even in this ballgame and scoring position and only out for Ryan Jackson. Another extra base hit. Speed can do that too. Fifth double for Over to go along with those 7 triples. Only 8 singles. Jackson swings, fouling back. 982-45, 12 homers, 7 runs batted in. 12 hits, I should say. No homers. 7 runs batted in. 5 strikeouts, 11 walks. Prototypical number 2 man. Puts the ball in play, has a good eye. The 0-1. Flip. The ball slipped right over the head. Jackson, ball 1. Trojans have been able to hit all season long. They haven't beat them on offense themselves. 1-1 on the way. Inside, good take on breaking ball. 2 balls and 1 strike now on Jackson. Both of these teams can hit.
I thought you were going to say
that prolific offenses. That one, a little jam shot roller towards third. Over and weighted, now darts towards third base. And he'll advance. The South ground out. And that throws out Jackson. So Ryan, by all accounts, in the wrong direction. Now it's softened up.
Cole Gabrielson.
So he does get the runner over. Now Cole Gabrielson will have a chance to try to bring him home. Defensively for the Cardinal, you heard Rios has his name called in left. Eddie Park in center, Braden Montgomery in right. Infield of Nati and Cobb on the left side. It's Gabrielson hit by a pitch. That was a big rainbow breaking ball that just never got anywhere near the plate. Gabrielson, if you're going to get hit by a pitch, you probably want it to be a mid-70s curve. So he'll trot on down to first. Cole hit by a pitch for only the 2nd time this year, and it brings up the lefty Nick Lopez with runners at the corners now. Rest of the defense for the Cardinal, Trevor Haskins at second, Carter Graham at first. And Malcolm Moore back behind the dish with Joey Dixon on the mound. First one to Lopez. Nick swings and misses. Started him off speed, and Nick was out in front. 0-1. Nick DHing here this afternoon. Comes in hitting .300, 4 homers, 12 runs batted in. There are very few players that feast on non-conference schedules the way that Lopez has. Now he's trying to bring that with him here into conference play. Although in this particular at-bat for the Trojans, goal number 1, priority number 1, is getting over and home. Austin's over at third, 1 away. Gabrielson at first. 0-1 to Nick, swinging a line drive. 2-hopper into right field for a base hit. That'll score over, and Gabrielson on his way to third, and Lopez delivers. It's an RBI single for the Trojan cleanup man. And just like that, we're all tied at 1. Nice piece of hitting by Lopez. The infield was in something of a modified shift. They had 3 defenders on the right side of the bag at second base, but they weren't pulled all the way across, kind of evenly spaced between first and second, and that left a couple of openings, and Lopez hit a sharp one. A 2-hopper right through. And that one, a rocket, caught at third on a line, and going to be doubled off. Gabrielson over at third base. Wow, what a play by Jimmy Nati. Johnny Olmstead hit an absolute missile to third. And Nati, a diving stab, was able to get up and beat Gabrielson back to the bag. And just like that, the side retired. A little bit of tough luck for the Trojans. I don't think Gabrielson would have been able to get back even if he hadn't taken a half step the wrong way. USC will have to settle for 1. Good at-bats in the inning. And they get even with the Cardinals.
First baseman, number 31, Carter Graham.
Well, the Trojans hit the ball hard in the bottom of the first inning. Had a double, a single, and then a line drive seed that turned into a double play. A little bit of tough luck. But overall, Trojans, I'm sure, pleased with the process in that first. So Hammond back to the hill, curves one in for a strike to Carter Graham. Now comes right back with a fastball that misses a little bit low. And they count 1-1 to Carter Graham. Graham's hitting $179. Moved down in the order a little bit today, although still right in the middle. That one's low again. The Cardinals know that they have a big bat here. He just hasn't really gotten himself locked in yet. Graham hitting $179, 2 homers, 11 driven in. Got the count his way this time, though, at 2-1. Breaking ball, good one. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On Graham, Jake Sapien on deck. Jimmy Natai to hit third for Stanford here in the second inning. 2-2. Outside. Count goes full. Payoff now. Very high, ball 4. Well, Hammond tried to reach back a little bit on that 3-2 fastball and uncorked a wild one. Missed up by 1.5 feet or so. He'll have to settle back in and deal with Jake Sapien, who, again, not an everyday guy for the Cardinal, but he's certainly making a case to be. Jake is 5 of 9 on the year with a triple and a couple of RBIs. Cardinal just deep beyond their wildest dreams. Sapien takes a strike at the knees from Hammond. Eric gave up an unearned run in the first, although partly at least his own fault. Air mailed a pickoff throw that allowed Eddie Park to move into scoring position. 0-1. Picked out of the dirt by Aoki. Pass ball actually moved Park to third base. Without those 2 free bags, he likely doesn't score because Rios grounded out, Montgomery and Moore struck out, and that was the end of the first. Runner bluffs and a swing and a miss at a breaking ball at the plate. 1-2. Nice off-speed stuff from Hammond so far. Already with the 2 Ks in the ball game. Long check of the runner, now home, and that fastball is up. Keeping one eye on the runner. We've seen a lot of bluffing from the Cardinal, but not much real-life base stealing, at least not in this series. That one's fouled over the press box. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count on Jake Sapien. We're just in the top of the second inning. It's kind of getting underway here. And a 1-1 tie. Each club getting 1 in their half of the first. That one didn't miss by much. A little bit high. So another full count. This one to Sapien. Hammond went full on Graham and lost him. Let's see if the runner takes off on a 3-2 count. Nope. And that one very high, ball 4. So that'll bring a quick mound visit here. As the Trojans try to settle Hammond back down. Seems to have lost the release point on the fastball at the very least. A few of the misses here in this second inning have been up. That was a very quick mound visit. That feels like the kind of one where a pitching coach saw something that clicked out of whack and just wanted to remind his pitcher and his catcher, hey, this is something to watch for. Finish the fastball. But beyond that, I'm sure there are more detailed mechanical notes. That's what we're seeing from up top. Got that thing back down into the zone. Well, first and second for the Cardinal now, and a couple of walks to start the frame. Natai the batter, and he takes inside and high, ball 1. Nadi, the freshman third baseman, being forced into everyday action right now. Drew Bowser turned an ankle early in yesterday's doubleheader, so Drew healing up right now, and Nadi getting a little bonus time at the hot corner. Fastball here is hitting the air to left center field relatively well, but Overn's got a beat on it. Austin makes the catch. Tagging and heading towards third is Graham. He puts the brakes on a nice throw coming in from Overn. Much to the delight here of this afternoon crowd, and we've got one away.
Second baseman, number 5, Trevor Haskins.
Graham was just sizing up the throw, making sure if he sailed it or if he could tell very obviously that it was way offline, he might have gone for it. But not with the ball hit to left center field. Didn't want to roll the dice. Here's Haskins. Trevor takes a strike. That looked like the breaking ball. So it kind of slid a little more than the up and down action we saw in a couple in the first inning. Either way, it's a strike. Trevor Haskins. Kind of limited activity as well. Here's the 0-1. That's in there again. Second start for Trevor. He started in the afternoon game yesterday. 0 for 4 overall on the season. Does have a run batted in. And with this condensed schedule, jamming 3 games in real quick. Fastball, did he go? Yes, he did on the appeal. That was a much better location from Hammond on the fastball. Instead of way up out of the zone, ran that one just off the outer part and down a little bit. And you could see Haskins was tempted by it. Its location was close enough, and he went around. Already the third strikeout of the game for Hammond, and here's Owen Cobb now, checking in for the first time today. First pitch swinging, fly ball to straightaway center. A lot of room out there for Overn. Rounds it and makes the catch. And the side retired. Boy, that 10-second pitching coach visit really turned. Real nice mid-inning bounce back by Eric Hammond in the top of the second inning after walking Graham and Sapien. Came back to get Nadi, Haskins, and Cobb in order. And the runners for the Cardinal unable to advance in that frame. That was one of the weird little footnotes on yesterday's late game where, again, the teams combined for 17 runs. There were very few runners left on base in that game. Really on the day, frankly. The Cardinal have already left 2 in this one. Trojans might have left more if not for the line drive double play. We'll go to the bottom of the second inning. Bryce Martin, Grudzelanek, Adrian Colon Rosado, Ethan Hedges. We're in what I would like to affectionately call the hyphenated portion of the Trojans' batting order. Martin Grudzelanek swings at the 1-0, slices that one foul, bangs off the protective netting, rolls through the Cardinal bullpen, pops back out onto the field. Nobody saw it. Luckily, Stanford relievers there to do a little cleanup. And another foul ball. Get one off the field, put another one on the field. Not surprisingly, a fresh batch of baseballs going to our home plate umpire, Mike Lusky. 1-2 coming up. Breaking ball, foul back out towards the concourse. Martin Grudzelanek comes in hitting at $196. A homer, 9 RBIs. One of the freshmen for the Trojans. There are 3 of them in the starting 9 today. Another foul ball, 4 in a row in this at-bat. The other 2 freshmen, Ethan Hedges and Austin Overn. Hedges, the hero of yesterday's ball game, or at least the night contest. Six, 7, and 8 hitters in the second inning. Breaking ball, got him. So Joey Dixon went to the whole arsenal in that at-bat. Changed speeds, changed locations. That was a pretty good sequence from the Cardinal starter.
Adrian
Bryce Martin Grzelonic slapped a few foul, just kind of trying to hang around, get one he could handle a little bit better, and it wasn't coming, not in that at-bat. So here's Colon Rosado now, hitting .292 on the season to this point. Adrian hits one sharply down the left field line, but that's going to slice into foul territory. Not that one off the barrel, but late. Only the 7th start of the year for Colon Rosado. 7 for 24 to this point. Dixon's 0-1, came right up into his kitchen. Check swing foul. Nothing in 2. Colon Rosado, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. He's been hit by a pitch a couple of times, so solid on-base percentage of .414. Here swings and misses, high fastball. Takes care of Colon Rosado, and a back-to-back Ks for Joey Dixon in this 2nd inning. He's starting to settle in now. Well, hard to think of a situation where a pitcher needed that fortunate line drive behind him. Dixon was really scuffling with that, leaving pitches out over the plate in the 1st inning. Not at all the case here in inning number 2. Well, that brings up Hedges now. Ethan takes a strike on the inside corner. Hedges is hitting .310 on this young season. Had his first collegiate home run in the first game yesterday, and had his first collegiate game winner in the night game, although not a walk-off. I think the ruling on that pitch was a little bit low. Still a game winner if your hit delivers the run that ultimately wins the ball game, even if it's not the 9th. 1-1. Fastball, foul back. Hedges had a pretty good rip at it. 7th inning was an eventful one in the night game yesterday. Stanford got 2 to tie it at 7. Trojans looked like were about ready to fall behind. Josh Blum came on and got back-to-back strikeouts with the bases loaded to preserve the 7-7 tie. And USC came right back with 3 in the bottom half. And it was this man, Hedges, who punched a single into right field to break the 7-7 tie. A wild pitch and a double later. USC led 10-7, and that was the final score. A pretty good series for Hedges so far. Here takes in the dirt, ball 2. Good stop by the freshman backstop for the Cardinal, Malcolm Moore. Looks like they've got a pretty exciting young catching prospect. Moore hitting near .360 and just a youngster. Dixon's 2-2. Breaking ball bounced up the middle. Cobb moving to his left makes the easy play to first, and the Trojans retired in order in inning at number 2. So Dixon settles in. Zeros on both halves of the ledger in this 2nd inning. Will rumble along to the 3rd. Tidy little 2nd inning in the books. We move to the 3rd in a 1-1 tie. Trojans and Cardinal rubber match of this 3-game, 2-day weekend set. Start of Pac-12 conference play. And it's been a good one so far. Hard-fought, tight ball games, where the Trojans came back and tied that first one yesterday before the Cardinal had the final 2 runs. First one here in the 3rd inning, fouled away by Eddie Park. And then it was USC to score last. So very much a who scores last series so far. I don't think any reason to think it would go another way today. 0-1. And one on the corner, nothing in 2. Park reached on an infield single to start the ball game, went to 2nd on an error, 3rd on a pass ball, and scored on a ground out. Here pokes one towards 3rd. That's going to get by Olmstead and roll down the line. SC had him shaded that way. And a very nice defensive play by Colon Rosado holds Park to a long single. But Eddie is aboard for the 2nd time in as many at-bats. Just a really nice piece of hitting by Park. Took a changeup running away from him. Didn't hit it all that hard. You can see on your screen where Colon Rosado got to that baseball. He was nowhere near the corner. Even stumbled briefly before throwing a rocket towards 2nd base. But either way, leadoff man on for the 3rd consecutive inning for Stanford, and here is Rios. Alberto grounded out to drive in a run in his initial at-bat. And to call him a thorn in the side of USC in this series, I think, really undersells thorns. 1-0. That's a strike. Rios has been a monster. He's hitting .373 now, 23 runs batted in, and just does not get himself out at the plate. Scary batter to see if you're in any kind of trouble. So that's the customer on deck. Rios, Montgomery, Moore. That's a gauntlet. And Hammond's going to have to go through him now. Park bouncing around over at first base. He's not going. And a good pitch home catches the outside corner to Rios for strike 2. "19 hits, 52 at-bats for Rios this year. 3 of them doubles, 4 of them home runs. 1-2 on the way, and that misses outside. 3 strikeouts for Hammond through his first 2 innings of work. But again, similar to the Stanford side, we talked a little bit about how we didn't quite know how deep the starters were going to go today. I think both coaching staffs are hoping for 4, but we'll see. Breaking ball, little tapper up the third baseline, but that's going to dribble foul. Nice pitch from Hammond. Get it inside on Rios. But the guy's got to be real careful. Remember, Stromsborg in the first game yesterday was able to bury sinkers right under the hands. But then later, it wasn't Stromsborg. A sinker was left middle in instead of in just off the plate. And Rios hit it a mile. Runner goes. Pitch is low and away. Throw down to second base is not in time. Eddie Park swipes the bag. He's creating a havoc just by getting aboard. We hadn't seen the Cardinal really, truly run that much at all these bluffs. Park finally took off, and maybe that's part of the reason they bluff all those times. You'd start to force an opponent to think you're never actually going to do it. And there is strike 3 called on the outside corner, a fastball that froze Rios. He was looking for something else. That one had a little bit of a tilt to it, but it wasn't the traditional slider. Maybe a cutter, perhaps, from Hammond, but either way, he gets the strikeout looking, his 4th of the game already. And a big out on Alberto Rios brings up Braden Montgomery. You know it, Rios does not strike out often, so that's a pretty big deal. Can anybody slow down Montgomery? He swings, bounces one back at first, just foul. Ooh, was that close? That was right on the chalk, about 10 feet or so, 15-ish in front of the bag. And that second hop kicked right. Stephen Varga right on top of it. First base umpire standing directly behind Hedges, who had to reach to his left to get it. A scary strike 1, but that's all it is. And that one over the head of Aoki, who came out of the crouch and then had to go off his glove. And so Park moves over to third again. Aoki thought he had that in his mitt. He didn't realize until a moment or two later that the ball wasn't still in it. That one probably a wild pitch, given how high it was. But once again for the Trojans, they will leave the infield back and surrender the run to try to get the out on Park. Or Montgomery, rather. Park over at third. I wonder if there might not be some advantage to trying to get that out at home. Park faking down the line. Pitch to Montgomery. Swing and a miss. Off speed for strike 2. That's the pitch that got him the first time around. I do wonder now, as you try to think along with the clubs, do you consider maybe going up the ladder a little bit?
Well, they went inside with an off-speed pitch. Montgomery does just get a piece, however. One out in the inning. Park over at third. Singled, stole second, went to third on the wild pitch. He's been given 270 feet. It is 2 trips around the bases so far. 1-2 changeup, and he went too far. That might have been a called strike 3, come to think of it. Pitch looked like it was drifting well outside. I'm not sure that they might not have had him on an appeal anyway.
Now batting, catcher, number 10, Malcolm.
Yeah, that's a called strike 3. From our vantage point, it looked like it was moving a little bit away. I thought Montgomery was going to get rung up on the check swing, but they ruled him out on the pitch. Swing and a miss by Malcolm Moore. That off speed today from Hammond has been a dandy. 5 strikeouts, and we're only partway through the 3rd inning right now. But that's one way to minimize damage. The 0-1 to Moore. Fastball up. I like the idea. Maybe just a little bit too high. Sometimes the fastball up, you don't necessarily need the swing to get the result you want, other than just change the eye level. Makes the changeup looks like a beach ball. 1-2 now on Malcolm Moore. You throw a couple of heat, 1 in, 1 up. Batter starts to adjust their timing. The pitch out of your hand looks bigger when it's higher. And then you can throw a change about belt high and just have it fade away. That was a changeup that got away from him, I believe. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On Malcolm Moore, who was fanned swinging in his initial at-bat. And Eric Hammond's a buzzsaw right now. Just does get a piece of that one. Oh, heads up. Trojans dugout almost wore that one. Travis Jewett came out to collect it, but he wasn't the one who almost got dinged. Everybody's fine. Another 2-2. Got him. Off speed down, and Hammond strikes out the side after giving up the leadoff single. Eric's got 6 Ks in 3 innings, and we're tied at 1. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd here at Dado. What a sequence from Eric Hammond. Eric Hammond has struck out 6 Cardinal hitters through the first 3 innings. 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and the side in the 3rd. And more than anything, he got Rios, Montgomery, and Moore in a row after the Eddie Park leadoff single. Park stole second, went to third on a wild pitch. Cardinal could not get him in. Stanford's left 3 runners in the first 3 innings. And we'll see if the Trojans can get something cooking here in the bottom of the 3rd now. After Joey Dixon had an excellent 2nd inning, he set down USC in order. Connor Aoki then back to the top of the lineup for Overn and Jackson. 0-1 the count here on Aoki. 7th, or rather 8th start now for Connor of the season. He's hitting .273. 0-1, hard shot to short, but right there is Cobb, and Owen throws him out. So Aoki put a pretty good rip on it, just hit it in the wrong spot. I don't think Cobb had to move even an inch left or right on that ground ball. It was truly right at him. And Aoki's kind of an interesting story from yesterday's games. Remember, he had the 3-run pop fly single in the 2nd contest. He ended up with RBIs in both games as Overn lifts one foul behind the plate and off to the left. That'll clear the field. Well, Connor now up to 7 RBIs on the season. Overn doubled and scored in the first, giving him a big hole up the middle in this at-bat, and he tried to do it and used it. I do weddings and parties, folks. Austin Overn saw what we saw, which was that the Cardinal defense had given him a solid 100 feet, maybe more, between the second baseman and shortstop. And there just wasn't anybody within a mile of that part of the field, so he didn't hit it hard. Dixon almost got it on the grounder going by the pitcher's mound. Haskins almost came all the way back to get it, although I don't think he would have had a play on Overn even if he got there. But now Austin aboard. Very much a threat to go, and here is Ryan Jackson. Grounded to third in his first at-bat, and he looks at strike one. We, like the Cardinal, will have one eye on Overn. Sometimes more than one. It always surprises me when teams play a shift of any kind, but certainly something of a larger one. And I know that the spray charts dictate a certain thing, but a hitter that's not over swinging can typically put a ball somewhere in the vicinity of where they're trying to, provided they get a pitch around the plate they can handle. And then as a pitcher, you need to know where your defense is behind you and pitch to that. So a changeup running away from Overn. The hope as a pitcher, I think, is that he was going to roll over that thing, but Austin said, "Nuh-uh, I can wait back. I don't have to swing that hard. I've got half a field to work with here." A little bit closer at first. Austin extending the lead. He's way off the bag right now. We'll watch, see how far he gets. We know Austin can fly. Good size lead again. And another pickoff throw. This may become a battle of wills here in the bottom of the third. Will Overn get tired of being off-picked and get closer to the bag, or we suddenly get a pitch? There he goes. Pitch is swung on, looped down the right field line. This one twisting towards foul ground and making the running grab nicely. Braden Montgomery. He had to go a long way to get that ball, and even on a day like today where there isn't a ton of wind, there is enough of a breeze to keep pulling that thing farther. And you can see the distance traveled, and then a nice job by Montgomery to see it into his glove, realize he was approaching the warning track. Sometimes there's an instinct to kind of alligator arm it if you know you're getting close to a side rail. Nice defense by Montgomery. Two down here in the bottom of the third. Over and back to first. He had a pretty good jump on that pitch. They'll have to try to time it again. Gabrielson swings and misses at the off speed. Looked like Overn's lead was a little shorter on that last pitch. He's trying to guess with Dixon when he's going to get the breaking ball, how long Joey's going to hold the baseball. And so there is, with the pitch clock, there's a certain element of getting into the stretch position quickly so you can mess with a runner's timing. It's a shorter lead this time. Draws the throw anyway. I think with Overn hoping the shorter lead, you can see it from up here. You can see the whole field. I think Austin thought by going slightly shorter on the lead, maybe he could avoid the pickoff throw. Now he's extended it back out a bit. Not going. Delayed steal try, and the throw down to second base is not going to be in time. The pitch was swung on and missed at the plate, so it's 1-2 now on Gabrielson. But for Overn, as you get another look at it, he was not going on the initial pitch, and then you could see the catcher look over, saw him moving, and the defense was really late getting over to cover the bag. So Overn swipes his fifth, but a 1-2 count on Gabrielson. Now 2-2. Turnabout fair play, I suppose. This game has been incredibly even in a lot of respects. Eddie Park and Overn, the leadoff men for the two teams, have been on in each of their at-bats so far. They traded a stolen base over and fakes to third. Gabrielson foul tips one at the plate. That one, if the ball got a piece of more, Malcolm kind of tumbling backwards a little bit. Appears to be fine. Home plate umpire tried to catch him. That's the one umpire in this crew not named Steve or Steven. So fake out towards second base. Nothing really going there. 2-2. Swing and a miss. High fastball cut on by Gabrielson. He couldn't catch up with it. And that'll retire the side in the Trojans' half of the third inning. So this one settling into a little bit of a pitcher's duel. But again, we don't know exactly how far these starters are going to go. Fun while we got them. 1-1 tie. We'll go to the fourth. Good game so far, 1-1 ties. We head to the fourth at Dado. Trojans back on the defensive side. And the first one from Eric Hammond misses low and away for a ball to Carter Graham. A walk to start the second inning. Moved up to second base on a walk to Jake Sapien and then was abandoned there. This time skies one towards shallow right field. This is going to be a long run for a pair of Trojans, and nobody's going to get there as it blows into foul territory. Well, that ball just kept turning and turning and turning. Conditions of this ball game on this Sunday afternoon are a bit more what we're accustomed to, and you can see the route that Hedges took on the replay, pretty indicative of where that ball started as opposed to where it ended. And Graham was halfway to second base because off the bat, that thing was probably 10 to 15 feet in fair ground. And then the wind just keeps moving it. Kind of picking up speed with every breeze that catches it. High twisting foul ball. 1-1, and it hit him. So Graham hit by a pitch. Looked like it got him in the shoulder. I'm taking another look at it. He just kind of happily wore that one. Yeah, there's an elbow protector in there. Without that, there's no way he's standing completely still on that pitch without a protective pad. Well, Graham's aboard for the second time. A walk, and now struck by what appeared to be a runaway slider. And Jake Sapien digs in, walked in his first at-bat. That part of the order where Hammond just kind of lost the plate for a minute. Immediately refound it. Spun that second inning on its head. Each team got a run the first, nothing since. Cardinal have had at least one base runner in every inning. They've actually had the leadoff man on in all 4 innings so far. 1-2 here on Sapien. Trojans had the leadoff man on in the first. They scored him. Lined into a double play at the end of the first inning. Looks like USC might have been on their way to a couple runs in that frame. That one's low and away. But a beautiful play by Jimmy Nadai. Right now, in my estimation, my humble one, is the difference in the ball game. If Nadai doesn't make that diving stab, Trojans have at least one more run in the first. And you can see Dixon was having a real tough time settling in. That ended up closer at first than it needed to be. Carter Graham was having some fun. Couldn't see it on the screen when we were looking at the battery. But Graham was dancing back and forth, two-footed bouncing. Let's see if he does it again. No, he learned his lesson. 2-2, a check swing, they'll appeal, and oh, he held up on that one. Stephen Vargas says not quite far enough. And the count goes full on Sapien. There's the clock reset. See if Graham's going on the 3-2. My guess would be no, but he is going. And the pitch is low, ball 4. So for the second time in the ball game, Graham and Sapien reach for free. The one thing you want to worry about here with Hammond is you don't want to fall in love with the strikeout too much. It's great when you can get it. But if the batters start to lay off the tough ones, and you're working at times more of an even count, you're even behind in the count, now you kind of got a bed made for you, and you got to figure out a way to get out of it. Trojans bullpen is active. We figured this would be the inning where they're watching Hammond closely. Nati squares to bunt, pops it in the air, foul up and over our heads. That was way the heck out of play. There's a look at part of the press box on your screen, as well as the upper parts of the main grandstand. Again, nice crowd on hand today. See a nice chunk of them down there behind home plate. Better weather today. Makes a difference. Nati pulls the bunt back and hits a little squibber towards the pitcher's mound. Hammond throws high to second base, but Jackson comes down with it, taps the bag with his toe, and the Trojans will have to settle for the 1-6 fielder's choice. It's not a sacrifice, since the bunt technically did not work. Nati ended up not giving himself up on the play, so Graham moves to third. Sapien retired. Nati's aboard at first base. The runners are now at the corners for Stanford with one away. Struck out in his only at-bat. Trojans need a K or a ground ball. Oh. Possible squeeze. Was not of the suicide variety. Runner at third, Graham was not coming. That was either a safety squeeze or just a play to move the infield around. Either way, Trojans are at the ready now, so if you don't do it the first time, you're probably not doing it. You can understand the idea for the Cardinal. Haskins, not a ton of activity so far this year. Maybe take a little bit of the pressure off of Trevor to get a hit. Just saying, hey, put one down, contact it. But not anymore. No, he squares again. Safety squeeze is on. Trojans have a shot at home. The flip is in time to get him. Terrific play by Ethan Hedges, charging hard, and kind of a late start over at third base by Carter Graham. And they got him by more than you would have expected on a play like that one. It really wasn't a bad bunt. Very nice defensive play by Ethan Hedges and Connor Aoki to collect the throw and apply the tag. And the Cardinal miss out on an opportunity for the moment, although they still have runners at first and second base. And Owen Cobb takes a strike as Hammond. That was a fastball from someone who feels reinvigorated by his defense. It's another reason why you got to be pretty careful to just bunt everybody when you have a potential rally going. You can understand, again, the logic behind it. The 0-1. Cobb swings, lifts one into right center field. Overn's there. And that takes care of him once again. So in each the fourth and back in the second inning, the Cardinal get the first two runners on. And then Hammond comes back to get the next three, this time with a little help from his defense. Nice play by Ethan Hedges to save a run, and we'll go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Remains.
Sun's up.
A little grub at a ball game, never hurt nobody. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning in a 1-1 tie. Cardinal have left a truckload of runners in this one on base so far. Stranded 5 over the last 3 innings. Trojans have left 2. I do wonder if that's the end of the line for Eric Hammond. I guess we'll find out when we get to the 5th inning. Trojans have had activity behind him, and we knew he wasn't likely to go more than 4. Kind of had to battle a bit in his 4 innings anyway. Big, slow curveball that didn't quite get back to Nick Lopez, who looks at ball 1. Nick singled through one of those openings on the right side of the infield. They're there again, but not going to be easy to pinpoint. Crowd didn't like the low strike call. 1-1 on Nick. Defensively this time, Owen Cobb has shifted farther to the right side. Lopez looked like he was aiming that way anyway. In his first at-bat, Cobb was more or less behind the bag at second, maybe a step or two to the right. This time, he's almost in what you'd call like a double play depth for a normal second baseman. And the second baseman, Haskins, is a step on the outfield grass. And certainly much farther over towards first. 2-2 to Lopez is grounded right to Haskins. So he was in the right spot. Trevor takes care of Lopez. 1 away in the bottom of the 4th inning. And it brings up Johnny Olmstead, who's Mr. Unlucky for the Trojans on offense right now. Olmstead hit a BB in his first at-bat. Got a fastball middle in and down and smoked it. A line drive to the left of Jimmy Natai over at third, and Jimmy made a dazzling diving play on it and then was able to get up and beat Cole Gabrielson to third. Well, Cole's trying to get back on the play. If that one gets through, Cole scores. Lopez is probably at third. Olmstead this time swings and misses at the 1-0. Then you've got Martin Grzelanic coming up with the Trojans in front 2-1. More runners in scoring position, but the line drive double play spun this one on its head. 1-1 in the dirt. Since then, it's been about the pitchers. Eric Hammond, 6 Ks in 4 innings, working into and out of self-made trouble a couple of times, and then Dixon just really hasn't been any kind of mess since. Good eye by Johnny on ball 3. Trojans head out on the road after this ball game. Not a long road trip by any stretch of the imagination, but a midweek game and then 3 at Cal next weekend. Taking care of the Bay Area Pac-12 opponents in a row as Olmstead hits a towering fly ball to left. Rios going back, still going back, just barely has room right in front of the pitch clock, makes the catch. And for Olmstead, just got a little bit underneath it. And that one, unfortunately, on a day like today, blew from straightaway left out towards left center. You can see Rios tracking it as it pulled towards a deeper part of the yard. That's just not the spot for it with your typical Dado breeze. We need a better nickname for that. The Dado breeze is probably a beverage they should serve at the ballpark. There's a fastball for a strike on the outside. I don't need money for the idea. I just want the first Dado breeze here in the press box. Here's the 0-1. Swinging a foul. Martin Grzelanic struck out in his first at-bat. He's buried in an 0-2 hole this time. And they got him again. Joey Dixon up the ladder. Martin Grzelanic couldn't stay down at the bottom rung, chased it. And the Trojans go in order for the second time today. 1-2-3 in the 4th. We'll roll along to inning number 5. It's still a 1-1 ball game out here. We'll be back.
Above.
Fifth inning at Dado, and this pitching change for the Trojans is brought to you by Yeti, built for the wild. It's Fisher Johnson coming on in relief of Eric Hammond, who goes 4 innings and gives up just the 1 unearned run on 2 hits. Did manage to avoid disaster in a couple of spots. He walked 3 and hit a batter, but struck out 6 to keep runners at their respective bases. Got the Ks when he needed to. Got a nice defensive play in that 4th inning on a safety squeeze when he needed it. And hands the ball over to the pen in a tie, 1-1. New pitcher for the Trojans, Fisher Johnson, 0-2 the record, ERA of 10.80 for the young right-hander. Johnson, 6'2 sophomore. And his first one is swung on and dribbled foul. Eddie Park, the batter, been aboard twice in this ball game. You just kind of had a feeling he was going to have a better game today. Park was quiet in the doubleheader for the most part. I think he had 1 hit in the first game, if memory serves. Sometimes memory does serve, and sometimes it does not. Here's the 0-1. Little bit outside. Yeah, Park went 1 for 4 in the afternoon game, 0 for 5 in the nightcap, and he was visibly irritated with a couple of the rulings at home plate in that night game. You're all tied up on a pitch inside. You just know with good hitters, after a 1 for 9 day, that's when you really need to look out. Little extra focus. He's got 2 hits already. Johnson trying to get him for the first time today. Fisher deals low and inside. Little slider from Johnson. Sixth appearance of the year. Started 1. I think the hope again is to get him through multiple frames, but we'll see as that fastball just misses inside. Johnson, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. He's generally just been kind of beat up by hits against him so far this year, allowing 13 over 8 1/3. That's an opponent's batting average of 342. 3-2 here. Park swings, slaps one down the left field line, but foul this time. Park's made an overnight adjustment. Some of that's probably just kind of understanding how the Trojans were pitching him. And so far today, everything away, Park has just gone with it. Wonderful to see USC go back inside on any, kind of dare him to try to turn on a pitch here. They did go in, and they got him. I don't know who makes that call, so we'll go ahead and give credit to Connor Aoki. If he's the one that was kind of following along with that at-bat and understanding that in this game so far, Park has had his success rolling with the outside stuff, so they came right in under the hands, buried a breaking ball, and he couldn't get it. Here's Rios. He ducks at a strike from Johnson, 0-1. I'll tell you, conference play just is different. It's a different monster. These games count so much more. Trojans look as locked in this series as they have in any game all season long. Rios tied up. Good location from Johnson this inning so far. Count is 1-2. Thought it was 0-2. Nope, well, 0-2. Home plate umpire switching it back. Yeah, he flashed 1-2. He flashed 0-2. We'll go with it. 0-2 pitch, check swing, no swing. On the appeal to first. Board was at 1-1, then it was 1-2, then 0-2. Now it's back to 1-2. Mike Lusky knew the future, perhaps. Use that power for good. The 1-2. Got him. The off speed takes care of Rios. 8th strikeout for Trojan pitching already. Fisher Johnson has come on and caved the leadoff man, Eddie Park. You've got Rios, who strikes out for the 2nd time today. And I will say, these teams look a little bit fatigued. Long doubleheader yesterday. This was relatively temperate. Here's Montgomery. Braden looks at ball 1. It's a good sign from Johnson coming in and throwing strikes, hitting his spots to both Park and Rios. And then getting ahead in the count against Rios allowed him to change speeds a little bit more. 2-0 now. Braden Montgomery has struck out twice, which has to feel like lifting the weight of the earth over your head. No one's been able to get this kid out all season long. Foul tips that one. There's the 2-1. Inside corner, 2-2. Well-pitched game to this point. Trojans had that big chance in the first. Cardinal have had a couple of opportunities in this game. They haven't really been able to take advantage. Now Johnson's 2-2 to Montgomery is right down the pipe. He was looking for something else. There was really nothing fancy about that pitch. Outer half, maybe, but not over a corner. And Montgomery just thought it was going a different direction. Fisher Johnson strikes out the side. It's the second time Trojans pitching has done so in the ballgame, and they have 9 Ks through 5 innings. One-one tie as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Trojans pitching has been lights out in this one, but the Cardinal have been up to the task on the pitching side as well. It's still Joey Dixon, although there is activity behind him now. Dixon likely approaching his pitch count limit on the day. He'll face the bottom third of Colon Rosado, Hedges, and Aoki. 1-0 to Adrian, swung on line to right field, but right there. And oh, Montgomery has it go off his glove. Braden Montgomery, you wonder if maybe the offense kind of creeping into the defense a little bit. It's the first off game he's had all year offensively. And that one just took off on him a tad. Ended up trying to catch it above his head as opposed to eye level and pinged right out of his mitt. Well, Colon Rosado ends up at second base on the play, and here is Ethan Hedges as USC gets a little bit of an opening. Let's see if they can capitalize. A step and a throw back towards second, nothing doing there. It is indeed an error on Montgomery. Or Colon Rosado, he hit it hard, but looked like it should have been a relatively easy play if Montgomery takes 1 or 2 steps back. But he was slow to react on that one. Edges shows bunt, takes high and away for a ball. And he paid for it by being forced to make a little bit more of an awkward play, and he missed it. Trojans have had a couple runners reach second in this ball game, and that one a popped up bunt towards third. So breaks giveth, breaks taketh away. Hedges pops out on a bunt try. Colon Rosado stuck at second. One down now for Connor Aoki. It's one of those situations where I do wonder, what is the advantage of the bunt over just trying to slap one to the opposite field? Maybe a trust that it's a little bit easier to just drop a bunt down, but Joey Dixon looking presumably at a scouting report. Best I guess as to what he was staring at on the mound. Aoki takes high on the fastball. This game has been replete with unsuccessful bunts. So if you're into that sort of thing, Jimmy Nada had a failed sacrifice. Haskins had a failed sacrifice. Hedges has a failed sacrifice. 1-0. Curveball. Ooh. Maybe a little bit high. Cardinal asking where that one missed. Home plate umpire signals up to the dugout. Miss. Two and one now on Aoki, who went RBI collecting yesterday. Love to get another one here. Ball 3 inside. Aoki came on halfway through the night game and had 4 RBIs with a 3-run pop fly single and a double in that contest. Drove in 1 in the first game. 3-1 pitch, and it's up and away, ball 4. Waiting to see if there's any movement out of the Stanford dugout, and yep, is the answer. So that's 60 pitches for Dixon, and perhaps that's about what he was going to be allotted in this ball game. He's at 4 1/3. We don't have a signal yet. Cardinal pen's been up and ready to go for the better part of 10 minutes now. So I don't think there's any issue on whether or not the reliever's ready. The issue is just whether or not they're going to get him, and now they do. So David Esker makes the move to the pen for the Cardinal. Joey Dixon will depart after working his way through the lineup 2 full times, so maybe that was part of it. Face everybody twice. You've got enough pitches in the chamber to get you through around 18 batters or so. And the Cardinal will go and get a little bit of help. That's Drew Dowd, who we did see in one of the ball games yesterday. The lefty will come on and deal with Austin Overn after he's warmed up. But a really nice start here for Joey Dixon. Both starters, in fact, guys, that hadn't had a ton of experience as starters. Hammond's made a few, but hadn't been able to go particularly deep in ball games yet. Eric went 4. And Dixon making his first start of the year. He goes 4 1/3. It might have been 4 2/3 if his right fielder catches a fly ball cleanly. Well, now the Cardinal will go to the pen and try to pick up the pieces a little bit. Drew Dowd is the first reliever here. He hasn't even begun to warm up yet. Long discussion on the hill. Dowd's making his 6th appearance of the season. Been a handful of starts, actually, for Drew. 3 of his 6 appearances have been at the beginning of the ball game, and he's gone 12 2/3 in his previous 5 outings now. So this is a little bit of a piggyback situation. Figure with Dowd, he could give them multiple frames. But everything very much is an on-paper situation until you actually go out and do it. Dowd, 6'2", 206, junior out of Belmont in California. Follows the righty Dixon, who is responsible for the runners on base. Unearned runner out at second. Aoki, who reached on a walk, is over at first right now. So Dixon, 4 1/3. As of now, a run on just 3 hits for the Trojans off of him, but that run column could potentially change. Dixon walked 1, the last batter he faced, and struck out 4. Making a good ball game so far. This is the first true scoring opportunity for USC, I would argue, since that first inning rally. They got over and out to second base on a stolen bag late in the 3rd inning, but Gabrielson struck out. I think that was 2 pitches later that inning came to an end. This time around, Colon Rosado reached second base on a dropped fly ball. Trojans tried to bunt him over to third and were unable to do so. Then Connor Aoki walked. It's far as some of the other notes on Drew Dowd are concerned, 12 strikeouts, 9 walks, though, in 12 2/3. So he's been very complicated to figure out kind of how the numbers correspond with him, in that he's been wild, and he's actually been hit relatively hard, but what he's done a really nice job of is keeping the ball in the yard. So even though there have been a number of base runners against him, Drew's been able to get into and out of jams without being punished too sharply. It's also worth noting, however, that he has been on the mound when 5 unearned runs have scored. So it's not as though teams haven't scored when he's been out there. It's just that not all of it has been his fault. And we'll see here which Dowd do the Trojans get to see. Is it the one that strikes out a batter an inning? Is it the one that walks almost a batter an inning and gives up a number of hits? Or is it a new iteration? Austin over and digs in. Runners at first and second and 1 out. And the first one from Dowd is low. Over and doubled in the first, singled in the third. Having a nice ball game so far. Adding to those already impressive totals for the freshman. 1-0. Outside, ball 2. So you see this a lot. Sometimes, certainly more so at the collegiate level, and then as you continue to kind of work your way up through the baseball ladder, you see it less and less. But players that have big stuff, but can they corral it? Ball 3. Very good contact hitter on deck in Ryan Jackson. Would make for an interesting spot if the Trojans can load him up here. See if Overton's taking. He is. That one right down the pipe. 3-1. Baseball is really such a crazy game when it get right down to the nuts and bolts of it. Able to turn a baseball in 60 feet. 3-1. Swinging a line drive towards short, and Colon Rosado lost track of the number of outs in the inning, and he's going to get doubled off. So over and lines kind of a humpback liner out towards shortstop. And Colon Rosado, who was running on contact, forgot there were only 1 man out in the inning. The Trojans hit into their second line drive double play of the ball game. Either that or he thought for sure that ball was getting over Cobb's head, but it just wasn't hit that hard. In any event, Trojans miss a chance. Dowd comes in. We got a defensive move on the Trojans side. Carson Wells will come on and play left field. And he replaces Adrian Colon Rosado. Carson will hit in the number 7 spot when we get back around to that part of the order. Meanwhile, in the top of the 6th inning now, still a 1-1 ball game. And Fisher Johnson back out to the hill for USC. Hard for him to one-up himself after striking out the side in the top of the 5th. Maybe just trying for an encore performance. Malcolm Moore, Carter Graham, Jake Sapien for the Cardinal in the frame. A little bit outside with the 0-1. Usually see Carson Wells will move around the outfield a little bit. Very good defensive outfielder. You need to wonder if it has anything to do with the way that last inning ended. There's a line drive out towards center field. Over and has a beat on it, and he puts it away. It's not an easy play. That ball was coming right at Over and had a little bit of side spin, and then, of course, the wind is also doing its thing. You just wonder, will it get knocked down? Will it hang up? Austin had no trouble with it. 4 up and 4 down now for Fisher Johnson. And the batter's Carter Graham, who has not had to do anything today. He's walked and been hit by a pitch. And here, was he hit again? They're going to peel and no swing, so Carter Graham is hit by a pitch for the second time today. You can see what the Trojans are trying to do, which is to pitch him inside and tie him up. That's a tough one. That's kind of in that one spot where the elbow dips on a swing. Otherwise, there's a lot of room to work inside there, just a little bit too high. Graham okay. That one clips him. And here's Jake Sapien, who also has been aboard twice without having to do anything. 2 walks. Sapien this time looks at a strike. One tie. Each team got a run way back in the first inning. We've just been goose-egging our way along since then. 0-1. Outside and low. Well-pitched contest. Eric Hammond went 4, gave up an unearned run, struck out 6, walked 3. Fisher Johnson has come on. He's already fanned 3. Trojans have also hit 2 Cardinal hitters in this game so far. And a pitch out. Nothing going on there. Joey Dixon went 4 1/3 on the Trojan, or the Cardinal side rather. Allows a run on 3 hits. Walked 1, struck out 4. And Drew Dowd came on. Got over into line softly to short, and it turned into a double play. When Colon Rosado seemingly forgot the number of outs in the inning. Infield double play depth. Hedges holding Graham at first. 2 balls and a strike on Sapien. 2-2. Jimmy Nadai on deck, 0 for 2. Haskins behind him, if the inning gets that far. Short lead at first, pitch home, swinging a ground ball towards second base. This has a chance to be 2. 1, 2, double play. Inning done. 4-6-3 on the twin killing. Bryce Martin Grzelonic to Ryan Jackson. Ryan back to Hedges at first. And Fisher Johnson, 2 scoreless out of the bullpen so far. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Trojans, the Cardinal, still locked in a 1-1 tie. This is a nice ball game we're having out here on this Sunday afternoon. A pitcher's duel, 1-1. Cardinal Trojans duking it out on the mound in this one after the offense was the story in our doubleheader yesterday. Teams combined for, I guess, a relatively reasonable number in the first game of 10. 17 combined runs in the second one. But 2 in this one, and it's up to the bullpens. Fisher Johnson up to the task so far. Drew Dowd got 2 outs against 1 batter. And here Jackson pops a bunt up in front of the plate, kind of backspins it near the dish to throw to first. Goes down the right field line. Jackson will dig into second base. I would assume that'll be a bunt hit and a throwing error, and the Trojans have the go-ahead run in scoring position with nobody out. And the heart of the order coming up. Off the bat, once it was popped up, the first thought is, will anyone have a shot at this thing? Dowd actually got there very quickly. Good reflexes on the mound, but had to rush the throw and yanked it a little bit. So Jackson aboard, moves up 90 feet. Gabrielson now takes one down and in. Good eye, back foot breaking ball. Second error in as many innings charged to the Cardinal defense. That one a little different than the last one. That was an error of aggression. The previous one was kind of an error of passive nature. 1-0 to Cole. Looper in for a strike, 1-1. Gabrielson, a few things on the brain here. He is, of course, one of the big boppers in the middle of the order. 6 homers, 18 runs batted in. Leads the team in both of those statistical categories. But at the same time, you also want to make sure you get that runner over. Let's see if he aims to the opposite field. 2 balls and a strike on Cole. As the power hitter's numbers, bunch of strikeouts, bunch of walks, bunch of homers, bunch of RBIs. He's up there, not looking to get cheated. Here swings through the 2-1 offering. 2-2. No doubt, rather Dowd gets the sign. 2-2. Breaking ball, bounces away, not quite far enough. Nice stop by Malcolm Moore. Kept that thing just outside of the circle and kicking towards third base. Would have been pushing it. Jackson tried to advance again, and you certainly don't want to get thrown out at third with nobody out in an inning. 3-2 pitch, inside, almost hit him. Gabrielson turned away from that pitch like he thought it was going to hit him in the flank, and it just did miss him. But either way, it's ball 4, so it's a free pass in either direction. And here is Nick Lopez. And now I really wonder what kind of strategy the Trojans employ. With 2 runners aboard, a ground ball could be 2. So do you ask one of your power hitters to drop a bunt down in this scenario? We've seen a bunch of unsuccessful bunts in the game so far. Lopez not tipping his hand yet. Squares, bunts it foul in the air. That was a very late slap at it. Felt like that one kind of got on Lopez maybe faster than he was hoping it would. Anyway, you kind of lose the element of surprise now. If you really are bunting, you might as well show it. Infield, moving around for the Cardinal. They want to try to preserve the force at third. Lopez swings away on the 0-1 and fouls it off to the left side. Well, now you can't bunt, at least not safely on a 2-strike count. You can, but you probably shouldn't. We'll assume here now lefty on lefty matchup. By the way, Lopez, mentioned on yesterday's broadcast, does not hit from the right side anymore. Dowd, a long look at the runner. Comes home with the 0-2, and Lopez hits one out towards right center field. Relatively well, but playable. Park retreats to make the catch. Jackson tags. He'll go to third without a play. And for Lopez, gets that lead runner over after being unable to get the bunt down on the first pitch. Does just enough here. And the Trojans now have a pretty good opportunity with runners at the corners and 1 out. It's not perfect. Double play ends the inning. Olmstead is going to try to keep this thing off the ground. Meanwhile, you've got Gabrielson at first, who runs relatively well. Would he consider trying to take off? And then would the Cardinal even throw through if he tried to run? A lot of things to think about. And a bunt up along the first baseline. That's going to get the job done. The safety squeeze works, and the throw hits Olmstead in the back and rolls into shallow right. Gabrielson being waved around from third. He will score all the way from first base, and it's a 2-run bunt. And for the second day in a row, the Trojans get multiple runs in the strangest of fashions. So where the Cardinal were unsuccessful in executing a safety squeeze, Olmstead gets it down. He'll get a sacrifice and a run batted in. He reaches on the error, goes to second base on the error. Gabrielson goes first to third, or first to second on the bunt. He scores all the way from second on the error. It's the second error of the inning. And are we going to get a move now from Stanford to the bullpen with the Trojans out in front 3-1? I talk about this strange scoring methods because yesterday the bases loaded. Connor Aoki had a pop fly into right center field that dropped between 3 Cardinal defenders, and it cleared the bases. So a 3-run pop fly single yesterday, a 2-run safety squeeze today. That's good base running by the Trojans. Beyond anything else, the Cardinal are indeed going to go to the bullpen. And for Drew Dowd, who threw the ball relatively well, but unfortunately has nobody to blame but himself on the defensive side, as he made not 1 but 2 throwing mistakes on bunts in the inning. Or was that second one Carter Graham? We'll got to go back and check on that one. Either way, new pitcher for the Cardinal coming in. And that pitching change is brought to you by Yeti, built for the Wild. Still a ways to go in this ball game. We're only in the bottom of the 6th inning, but certainly for the Trojans, feeling pretty good here on the moment. Olmstead himself is out in scoring position once we get back moving again. The new pitcher for the Cardinal is Brant Panzer.
Number 30, Brant Hansen.
Who worked in the afternoon affair yesterday. And he's one of Stanford's preferred bullpen arms. You can see the good numbers on your screen there. Panzer, no record, ERA of 3.18. This will be his 8th appearance of the season. That's second only to Nicholas Lopez, the lefty we saw work in the nightcap of yesterday's doubleheader. Panzer, 13 strikeouts in 11 1/3 innings of work. And then the number on that far right, the one that really jumps off the screen, he has not yet walked a batter this year. Jason Sterles over on the USC side hasn't walked a batter, if you're thinking if there's anybody on the other team. But Sterles has gone 4 2/3, and Panzer is up and over 11 innings without a free pass. It's hard to argue that Dowd was left in for too long because, again, it's not like he was hit particularly hard. He came on over and hit that soft line drive that turned into a double play in the 5th inning, and then here in the 6th, a bunt single, a hit batsman on error, a sacrifice, another error, and the Trojans turning the wheels loose, scored 2 runs on a safety squeeze with the second run coming all the way around from first. Here's Bryce Martin Grzelanic with Olmstead at second base, 1 out, bottom of the 6th inning. Trojans leading this ball game for the first time, 3-1. Fastball, bit of a wide strike, 0-1. It's hard to tell from our vantage point. Looked like Moore had to reach out to get that one, but maybe set up towards the inner part and then had to grab back across the plate. Runner on his way to third, and the pitch is hit back to the box. It was a nice play by Panzer to snag that one. He throws to first base to get the out on Martin Grzelanic. But Olmstead over to third. And just a little bit of an odd play because it was almost like Martin Grzelanic was trying to hit that thing on a hit and run with a player at first base running, just trying to slap it through the right side, but it was actually going to be the left side of the infield that was open, with the third baseman Nanai forced to cover. Although it looked like Olmstead had a massive head start. I think if you're Martin Grzelanic, that's when maybe you just take the pitch. Heads up. Here's Carson Wells for the first time. Came on as a defensive replacement for Adrian Colon Rosado. Surmising, perhaps, that it had something to do with a base running mistake, but we don't know for sure. Wells getting his first at-bat in this ball game. Carson, .257 hitter on the year. He takes a breaking ball down and in. Wells has a home run. He's driven in 4. 7 strikeouts, 5 walks on the season. He's seen plenty of playing time. 14th game for Wells. He started 10 of them. 2-0. That's in there. If you get the count in your direction against Brant Panzer, you got to be looking for something over the plate. Sometimes that unwillingness to walk can actually work against you just a tad when you file behind the count. Ball 3. Now I guess there's a first time for everything. Panzer, color coordinated on the mound. The Cardinal in their Cardinal. And Panzer also with a Cardinal glove. White lettering on the Stanford uniforms today. 3-1 on the way. A strike, to no one's surprise. 3-2. 2 down in the inning. Little insurance over at third base for USC. That's Olmstead. Got himself an RBI with a safety squeeze this inning. Trojans cashing in on some rather poor Stanford defense in the frame. Infield in a shift. The 3-2 swung on, fouled right over our heads. Straight out to the concourse behind us, down the hill and out towards the food truck. Go grab yourself a bite between innings. And we'll try it again. We'll see if Wells tried to punch something the opposite way, or if they even let him. Another 3-2. Little tapper foul behind the plate. Do it again. Trojans have hit 1 ball out of the infield in this inning, and it was a fly ball out to center. 2 runs have scored, largely on bunts and bad throws. Another 3-2. Swinging a line drive out towards right center field. There's nobody there. That one's going to bang off the base of the wall. Wells has himself a stand-up double. Olmstead scores. The Trojans add 1, and it's 4-1 USC. And I do think that a little of that comes back to what we talked about, knowing that Panzer is going to throw you a strike on 3-2, even with 2 bases open. Wells was able to just sit back, look for something over the plate. Wasn't really all that worried about having to chase, and banged one off the wall. And now Carson out in scoring position. Hedges settles in and takes a first pitch strike from Panzer. 0-1. Maybe one of the best examples at the big league level of a pitcher that has actually been impacted negatively by being unable to walk anyone, and it's a strange example to give, is the future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw, who, as he's gotten older and hasn't been able to throw as hard, batters are just sitting strikes almost all the time. Of course, he's still amazing, but you've actually seen him a little more willing to pitch out of the strike zone just to keep a hitter honest. 0-2 here on Hedges. He's 0 for 2 today. And the pitch from Panzer is in the dirt. Moore with another nice block. 3-run bottom of the 6th inning for the Trojans, snapping a 1-1 tie that we'd had since all the way back in the 1st. Right side of the infield mostly open. Pitch to Hedges is hit out towards right center field. That one might get up into the breeze, racing back and making the catch. About 2 steps shy. The warning track is Braden Montgomery, who got a much better start on that one. And the side retired. But the Trojans scored 3 times on 2 hits and a couple of errors. A hit batsman. You take them out, you can get them. And we'll roll along to the 7th. USC out in front for the first time. They lead Bottom third for the Cardinal, top of the 7th inning. Trojans in front now, 4-1, and Fisher Johnson will head back out to the hill for his 3rd inning of work in relief. And a first pitch is a towering fly ball in shallow left field. Wind's going to start to pull that one a little bit to the left for Carson Wells, but he bounces with it and makes the catch. Nati retired on 1 pitch. That's just what the doctor ordered for the Trojans pitching side. And it brings up Trevor Haskins now. You get a look at his choice of shoes. Nope, we'll get a pinch hitter instead. Haskins heads back to the dugout.
Number 19, Henry Gargis.
And we will instead see Henry Gargis. Gargis, 6 foot, 212-pounder. He's a senior out of Yakima, Washington. Digs in from the left side and looks at a fastball low and away from Johnson. Ball 1. So Haskins, who was 0 for 2, was one of the failed sacrifices for the Cardinal back in the 4th inning. Gargis takes a hook for a strike, or rather 1-1 now. I do wonder if that's kind of when things went south on the Stanford side. Back-to-back failed sacrifices in the 4th, and then a fly ball took him out of another rally. Johnson's been very good. Fisher blows one right by Gargis here. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Henry. Gargis not an everyday guy. He's started the game twice. 6th time here coming on partway through. Here he swings, bounces one out towards second base. Nice long, easy bounce for Martin Grzelcyk, and he throws him out. So Fisher Johnson, full-on cruise control in relief of this ball game. He's allowed only 1 base runner, and then immediately the Trojans wiped him out on a double play grounder. So Johnson has faced the minimum through 2 2/3. A double barrel action warming for USC behind him. There's Owen Cobb. He's flied to center field twice in this one. Went too far on a high fastball. I swear, I'm sure if you're Andy Stankiewicz, you're cursing into your shirt sleeve that Johnson isn't allowed to throw 65 pitches, because he is rolling today. Fisher into the sunlight, and a Cobb got all of that one. Drives it to deep left field and up against the wall. The breeze knocked it down for Carson Wells. And Cobb, I think he thought he had that one off the bat, crushed it to left and came up about 3 feet short of a home run. Trojans get him in order again. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Stretch time at a couple of changes on the Stanford side. Timo Becerra will come on and handle second base. So Gargis pinch hitting for Haskins. Becerra replaces Gargis. We saw Timo in the nightcap yesterday, so he'll hit in the number 8 hole of your lineup. Should you be tracking this sort of thing at home. And we also have a pitching change for the Cardinal. This pitching change brought to you by Yeti, built for the wild. For the Cardinal, it is their 4th pitcher of the day. Joey Dixon, then Drew Dowd. Brant Pantzer, who came on to try to put out a fire in the 6th inning. Did give up that double to push in another run. And now it is Ty Uber. Ty, big kid, 6'4", 243. Sophomore out of Cameron Park, California. And his first offering here misses low and away to Connor Aoki. Connor 0 for 1 in the ball game. Did walk his last time up. Check swing, little dunker foul. And oh, nice play in the crowd. Off the railing. There you go, good hands. 1-1. Inside corner. Trojans leading this ball game 4-1. The pitching for USC has been brilliant. Into and out of a couple of jams in the second and fourth innings. But other than that, minimal. And a swing and a miss. It was a good-looking breaking ball from Uber. Takes care of Aoki for the first out of the inning. Trojans have done a nice job on the whole in this game of putting the baseball in play. That's only the 5th strikeout for Cardinal pitching on the day. Conversely, Trojans have struck out 9 Cardinal. In fact, they did that in the first 5 innings. Fisher Johnson's been able to work through the last 2 frames without the benefit of a strikeout. Attacking hitters, but he's probably done. Just based on how long he's gone in outings so far this year and then going 3 today. Ty Uber's been very good. Kind of surprised we didn't see him before this one. Throws hard, and that one a rocket towards second base. Short hopped nicely by the recently inserted Becerra. And he throws out Austin Overn. So Overn hit it hard. That was a loud one, but wrong spot. There's Becerra. Everybody on the Cardinal infield has those big belt buckles filled with defensive shift alignments and the sword. Almost look like fanny packs. And that fastball, wide strike, 0-1. Ryan Jackson bunted for a hit in the 6th inning, started the Trojans' 3-run rally. You just never know what's going to turn the tables on a ball game. This time swinging away, hits one in the air, foul off to the right. Breeze should pull this one out of play, and it does, just barely. There's a little pocket, and you can see it on your screen, just beyond the Trojans' dugout. Doesn't exist on the left field side. There's bullpen and camera areas along third base that don't exist along first, and instead there's just a little extra cutout of field. 0-2. In the dirt. Numbers, by the way, for Uber. This is only his 3rd appearance of the year, so that he's worked somewhat sparingly, but he's gone 3 innings, or averaged 3 innings in his outings. 7 strikeouts, 6 walks, 4 hits allowed, but only 1 run given up. Bounces one in again. Big kid throws hard. Cardinal as a team have struck out a lot of hitters this year. Their success on the season has been built on the shoulders of strikeouts and home runs. 2-2. Low and away. Not in this one, though. Trojans putting the ball in play on offense and not allowing the Cardinal to go deep in this game so far. Still 2 innings left in regulation. Jackson waiting on the 3-2. He's worked it full. Uber deals, and it is low. Ball 4. Good take by Ryan on the 3-2 breaking ball. So Jackson aboard for the 2nd time. And that gives big Cole Gabrielson a chance to hit with a runner aboard. That's where you want it. Cole's been hit by a pitch twice today. Not of the painful variety. He swings, lifts one foul off to the right. Excuse me, he was walked his last time around, officially. I think he thought the pitch had hit him in the jersey, but it went down just as a free pass. He was hit, however, by a fluttering breaking ball back in the 1st inning. Waiting on the 0-1 after the foul. Uber checks the runner, deals, and that one is just high. 1-1 on Cole. Gabrielson, strong kid, long, powerful swing. Does swing and miss from time to time, but when he connects, look out. 2 balls and a strike. Of course, this is the other side of the story with Uber. We talked about it. Strikes out more than a batter an inning, walks a batter an inning. Very difficult to square him up, but tends to get himself into and out of jams. 3-1. Bottom of the 7th inning, 4-1 Trojans. Each team a run in the first, Trojans 3 in the 6th. What have you done for me lately? Back-to-back walks. So Jackson jogs down to second base. Gabrielson takes his second free pass in as many innings. Third free pass in the ball game if you include the hit by pitch, and you should. So Cole technically 0 for 1. And now I wonder, well, this is just going to be a strategic discussion. There's nobody warming in the Stanford bullpen. If you were curious on what may be taking place, so this is purely just to get Uber to get it back over the plate. Pitchers of record in this ball game, Fisher Johnson, with Hammond not quite able to go 5. For the Trojans, Drew Dowd for the Cardinal. You almost feel a little bit bad for Dowd right now. Obviously, the game far from over. Cardinals still have 2 more at-bats, trailing by only 3 at the moment. But Dowd didn't allow a ball hit out of the infield, but for the pop-up into shallow center off the bat of Nick Lopez. And the Trojans were still able to turn that into 2 runs, and then 3 with Wells doubling after Dowd left the ball game. Again, doesn't really matter how you get your runs, as long as they're there. Meeting adjourned. Lopez digs in, and he takes high for ball 1. Pretty much everything from Uber right now is up. Trojans just kind of waiting him out. Lopez is 1 for 3 today. There's a strike. Went to the off speed that time. Good decision by Malcolm Moore just to try to change it up with Uber. Stop throwing fastballs. They're all ending in the same spot. Let's try something else. See if that settles him in. The fastball looked like it was going to be up again. Lopez, however, offered at it. Just kind of redirected the pitch into the crowd. So it's a ball and 2 strikes now on Lopez. Runners at first and second for the Trojans. 2 down in the 7th. Strikeout and a ground out to start the inning, but Jackson and Gabrielson walked. And Ty Uber trying to fight his way out of his own jam. He delivers. Lopez pings one out into left field. That one's going to slice right into the waiting arms of Alberto Rios. And that retires the side. Trojans get a couple of walks. They leave them. USC is stranded 6. Stanford is left 5. Trojans have scored 4. Cardinal have scored 1. We'll go to the 8th at Dado. Welcome back, everyone. We're in the top of the 8th inning now. The Trojans leading the Cardinal 4-1. USC will indeed, as we figured, head back to the bullpen. Fisher Johnson goes 3 in relief of Eric Hammond. 3 brilliant innings. He faced the minimum 9 over that span. And now the Trojans will hand the ball to the lefty, Caden Connolly. And this pitching change, of course, brought to you by Yeti. Built for the Wild. Connolly, who got touched up a little bit by the Cardinal in the first game of our doubleheader yesterday, will look to rebound in this one. 6'4" lefty out of Dana Point. Has been one of the Trojans' most reliable relievers this season. 9th appearance for Connolly. ERA of 2.79, record of 0-1. 11 Ks, 4 walks allowed. And he'll face the top of the order. Well, no easy task here as Park jam shot. foul off to the left on the first pitch, 0-1. Kind of counter-adjusting in this one. That slider stays inside on Eddie. It was a really nice pitch sequence, the one that struck him out after Parks singled to first, singled to left. 1-1. A little bit outside, ball 2. You can't mess around much here. Rios, Montgomery, Moore all waiting in the wings. And then Carter Graham, who hits 5th, he hasn't been retired yet in this ball game. Foul ball. Four runs on 6 hits for the Trojans, 1 run on only 2 hits for the Cardinal. They both belong to this man. 2-2, just outside, and the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Eddie Park. Got to challenge him here with a 3-run lead. Eddie hits it foul. Big difference maker in this game, defense. 3 errors on Stanford, only 1 on the Trojans. Another 3-2, swinging a line drive out towards center field, but right at Overn. Austin about 2 paces to his left, picks it off. And Connolly gets the leadoff man. That's a big first out here in the 8th. Allows you to face Alberto Rios with the bases empty. Trojans have been able to get him all 3 times today. Rios grounded out in the first inning, did drive in a run with that roller up the middle. Since then, struck out looking against Hammond, swinging against Johnson. Takes high here for a ball. Connolly back with a 1-0, swinging a foul. One and one. Bunch of cameras out right now in the crowd. Another foul ball makes it a ball and 2 strikes. I think that's a Stanford contingent. Maybe a Rios contingent. Connolly's 1-2. Low and inside. Alberto Rios is out of Bellflower. Man, has he been a tough out. Certainly in the doubleheader. And here it takes a fastball just missed low. Crowd was trying to squeeze that one back up into the strike zone. It was close. Like maybe a hair below the knees. And another payoff. A rocket to third. Olmsted knocks it down, but that's all he'll be able to do. That one simply just hit too hard. Rios, a top spin liner. Olmsted got a glove on it, but rolled behind him. So a 1-out single, and the first hit for anyone on the Cardinal not named Park. Brings up Braden Montgomery. Pivots around to bat right-handed. Braden, switch hitter. We've seen him mostly from the left in this series. First one from Connolly, bends in for a called strike. Well, you just can't keep Rios down for long. Certainly, you could probably argue similarly here with Montgomery. Question is, can the Trojans get him a 4th time? 1-1. A look to first. I'd be a bit surprised to see Rios going anywhere, or at least not outside of perhaps being part of a play. The Cardinal down 3 in the 8th. Not really the time to play for one at a time. 1-1 on the way. A little bit outside. Aoki tried to snatch that one back over the dish. Mike Leski didn't buy it. Trojans moving the outfield around a little bit now. Overn in particular moving pretty far into left center field despite the wind. Once again, they will check Rios. I'd be floored if he was going. Two one. Ball 3. Now you got to be careful. That one rocketed into left field, racing on, and making the shoestring grab is Carson Wells. That was not an easy play. Ball had some side spin on it, was coming down, and Wells racing on, goes into the slide, and secures it just below the knees for a big second out. Braden Montgomery hit it hard, but lines out to left. It's the second out on the board in the 8th inning. And now here is Malcolm Moore. And for Caden Connolly, I'm sure he'd love to have an at-bat without a 3-ball count. And he might get one. Pop-up, left side of the infield. Olmstead makes the grab. Well, Carson Wells, I don't know if you can call it a game-saving play, but you never know. Big sliding grab in left field to take a hit away from Montgomery. The Cardinal are retired. Once again, Trojans' bullpen has been brilliant in this one. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning. There's our buddy. Enjoying the partly cloudy skies today. I can't quite lie to you and say that it's been a perfectly sunny day, but compared to the last few, this is an infinite amount of sunshine. Very pleasant, enjoyable afternoon of baseball, and for Trojans and their fans, they're trying to lock this one in. It's 4-1 USC as they attempt to win the series from the number 2 team in the nation. Big confidence boost that could be. Olmstead, Martin Grzelanic, and Carson Wells. And Johnny first pitch swinging, skies one into shallow right. Montgomery drifting with this one. He had a little more time to get adjusted, and he makes the catch. So Olmstead flies out on one pitch. Johnny goes 0 for 3 with a safety squeeze on his ledger today. And here is Bryce Martin Grzelanic, who is 0 for 3 in the ballgame. Ty Uber, by the way, hanging around for his second inning of work on the Stanford side, delivers a fastball. And Martin Grzelanic fouls it off to the side. I wonder if folks call him BMG at any point. Feels like a relatively simple nickname to throw into the mix. The 0-1. Swinging a bouncer to third. Big one-hopper, gloved there by Nada. Jimmy straightens up and throws out BMG. 2 down. And here is the hero of the hour, Carson Wells, who not only has an RBI double since coming into the ballgame for Adrian Colon Rosado, but a sliding grab in left on the Braden Montgomery line drive in the top of this inning. That saved a base hit and turned what, if that Montgomery ball drops and it's first and second with 1 out, just a very different feel of the 8th inning. 1-0 from Uber, swinging a shot up the middle and off the glove of a sliding Owen Cobb. And Wells is going to be aboard. Scorekeeper's going to have their hands full with that one. Cobb was moving to his left, tried to handle it going into a little bit of a half slide, and he was able to pick it up. I think it'll probably be a knock, but we'll see. But Wells aboard for the second time in as many tries. And here is Ethan Hedges. Went around on a breaking ball, 0-1. And it will indeed be a hit for Wells. 2 for 2 with a sliding grab and left. Not bad for a half day's work. 1-1. Watching the Trojans' pen, relatively quiet at the moment. Assume that means Connolly is expected to come back out for the 9th. Runners on the move. Pitch is low. Throw down to second base on a bounce and not in time. Carson Wells deciding that 2 knocks and a sliding grab is not enough for a half day's work. Adds a stolen base to the ledger. Ended up as a much closer play than I thought. Get a replay at it. Just did get that left arm in ahead of the tag, but it was bang bang. Hedges takes strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Ethan. Hero last night, 0 for 3 today. Trojans would love one more run here, and a base hit to the outfield would probably do it. Count runs full now on Ethan. Uber did walk 2 hitters in the 7th inning. And a line drive, base hit to right. Wells is being waved around. Going to be a play at the plate, and the throw is in time to cut him down. Braden Montgomery, a laser beam from right field on a line to Malcolm Moore, who slaps a tag down on Wells. And the side retired. Hedges bidding for another RBI as we take another look at the throw. Look at that thing. Bang, right on the money. You know, for as many unpleasant defensive plays as we've had in this ballgame, we've had an equal number of gems. Anyway, let's go to the 9th. Last shot for the Cardinal. Trojans trying to put... Well, the Trojans did have a pitcher warming up. He was just done when we happened to look down at the pen, and it's the right-hander Garrett Clark, who finished off the late game yesterday to get his first save of the season, and he will try to get 2 in as many days. 2 in the span of about, well, what are we looking at here? 18 hours or so since the night game ended yesterday. Clark's been wonderful for the Trojans so far this year. 9 innings, hasn't given up an earned run yet. A record of 1-0, 8th appearance overall. Did give up 3 unearned runs on the year, being thorough. 7 strikeouts, 5 walks. Opponents batting 156 against Clark. And this pitching change, as they all are, brought to you by our friends at Yeti, built for the Wild. First pitch fastball right down Broadway, taken for a strike by Carter Graham, who, again, has not had to swing yet today. Hit by a pitch twice and walked. Strike 1 on the way. Fastball, little inside-out swing, and a corkscrewing pop fly down the right field line, and that one's going to drop untouched. Clark digging into second base with a pop fly double. The Cardinal get a little break to start the 9th inning. A well-placed fly ball, and only their 4th hit of the afternoon, but 1 runner aboard. And 1 more, and you start to feel a little bit of pressure. And if you're Clark, On the Trojan side, you can't worry too much about Graham. From an inconsequential run, I know you want to keep that ERA intact, but the game is at home plate. Jake Sapien, Jimmy Nathai, Timo Becerra, the next three to bat for the Cardinal. Just keep coming after him. Sapien taking. The Cardinal would love to get walks. When you're down by a bunch, just not bringing a ball in play into the equation is the optimal situation for a team trying to make a comeback. On the Trojan side, they know it. And so Clark coming after him, and that one a little inside-out shot, but it's going to twist foul this time. Cardinal are aiming that direction in this ninth inning. Graham got jammed, blooped it into right. Sapien got jammed a little bit, tried to shoot that one the other way. And if you know that's where they're going, you could change up your pitching strategy a little bit, or at least the sequence. Clark's 0-2, up the ladder and got him. One away in the ninth inning. 10th strikeout for Trojan pitching. They actually hadn't struck out a Cardinal batter since the 5th, interestingly. Fisher Johnson and then Caden Connolly had worked the last 3 innings without striking out a hitter, but also without giving up any runs. Here's Nathai. He swings at the first pitch, also aiming to right and also late. Bangs that one off the net. Careens over the Cardinal pen and wait on Cole Gabrielson to go clean it up. Nathai 0 for 3. Flied out. Failed to sacrifice in the 4th. And flied out again in the 7th. Clark coming right after these hitters. Delivers a fastball that may have crossed up Aoki, but it was in the strike zone, and it's 0-2. Connor kind of caught that pitch with his head going one way and his glove going the other. It's a hard one for an umpire to call, but it was basically right down the middle. 0-2, and now you can mess around a little bit. Clark working quickly, delivers, fastball, foul back. Good location on that one. Went up to about shoulder height. Nathai just gets a piece of it. Fastball, fastball, fastball this at-bat. Do we see anything else? Breaking pitch, grounded to short. Jackson's got it. 2 away. Trojans now 1 out away from winning the series over the number 2 Cardinal. It'll be the first Trojan series win over Stanford in 8 years if they can pull it off. 2015, the last time. You want to talk about a signature series win for this new coaching regime, this could be it. Here's Timo Becerra. First one on the way, a fastball, foul back. Becerra late on the heat from Clark, 0-1. Carter Graham out at second base for Stanford. Started the inning with a pop fly double down the right field line. Trojans with a 3-run lead, though. So not particularly concerned with Graham. Clark going after the hitter, and the hitter alone, the 0-1. Low and away on the breaking pitch. Each team got a run way back in the first inning. Cardinal have had nothing since then. Trojans pitching has been unbelievable in this one. Cardinal pitching pretty darn good as well. USC bunting their way to 3 runs seemingly in the 6th. There's Clark's 1-1. Fastball away. That pivotal 6th inning, Ryan Jackson bunted for a hit, and he moved to second on a throwing error. Gabrielson walked. Lopez flied out. That advanced Jackson to third as the possible go-ahead, and Olmstead on a safety squeeze scored the go-ahead run. and then a carousel of errors. Fastball at the knees, a low strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Becerra. Carson Wells has been a pivotal late entry into this game, doubled in a run for the Trojans, saved a hit on defense. Crowd coming to its feet as USC is a strike away from grabbing the series from the Cardinal. Clark's 2-2. Just outside. A chorus of yeah, no. 3-2. Owen Cobb on deck. I think you can expect a fastball down the pipe and just see what happens here. The pitch. Fastball, strike 3 call to the Trojans. Grab the series from the Cardinal. 4-1 the final in this one. That's a big series win for the Trojans. 4-1 the final score here in the rubber match on Sunday afternoon. USC takes 2 out of 3 from the number 2 team in the country, the Stanford Cardinal. And there is your final score on the board. USC 4 runs, 8 hits and an error, a run, 4 hits and 3 errors for the Cardinal. Fisher Johnson, brilliant in relief in this ball game. 3 middle innings, and he faced the minimum 9 hitters. Picks up his first win of the year. Drew Dowd takes the loss for the Cardinal. He was the pitcher when all of those bunts and throwing errors occurred. Passively, they were his throwing errors. Garrett Clark gets the save for the Trojans. Second one in 18 hours for Clark, allowing just a double in the 9th. His second save of the year. Again, both of them coming in this series. Well, this is a fun one, folks. USC knocking off the favored opponents from the Bay Area. And what a way to start Pac-12 play as well. Trojans go to 2-1 in early Pac-12 action. The Cardinal fall to 1-2. And USC will take this show on the road. They will have a midweek contest before their next Pac-12 series is in Berkeley. They'll take on the Golden Bears at Cal Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the next Pac-12 home series is actually a home midweek game. Not this coming Tuesday, but the following week, and then a home Pac-12 series the weekend after that. So once again, for the Trojans, their first series win over the Cardinals since 2015. Andy Stankiewicz and crew feeling pretty darn good right now as they put this one in the win column, and again improved to 2-1 in Pac-12 play and a break-even 7-7-1 in overall numbers. For the Cardinal, they fall to 10-5 overall, 1-2 in Pac-12 play as we bring this one to its conclusion. Friends, thanks so much for hanging out with us on the doubleheader yesterday and for this lone solo game today on this Sunday afternoon. Big thank you to, as always, the incredible Trojans media crew back in the production booth putting on this fantastic show. To Jacob Breams right behind me, I am Dan Besbris. Thanks for hanging out with us, where the Trojans once again on this Sunday afternoon beat the Cardinal by the final score of 4-1. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Every